Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James and also the Brink, and we are one community. Yeah, one community. We enjoy each other here. Let's get into the chat. Just as a heads up, I'm using Riverside today, and so it's a new process that I'm trying to hopefully help streamline a little bit better. But yeah, so just letting you know. Uh, welcome, Wolf. That cat Smith for you, BT Maverick, Dickrus, Rachy, welcome, all you beautiful people. So, Wolf won't be able to talk much at dinner with my family. Well, enjoy your family, Wolf. But thanks for stopping by and saying hi if you're still here. Uh, so, Cascoder, you're on time this time. Welcome. Uh, there is sound alerts. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, but I'll look at that later. Lom Key, welcome. How are you guys doing today? Today is a fun. It's going to be a fun one, partially because we're going to do a lot of speculation, and that is on the Deckard project. And I know we rehash this, but I really want to know what you guys think on this and rehash it. Like, let's rehash it some more. I want to know what you guys think at the end of the stream. And on top of that, more games are supporting the Steam Deck. So I know that's one thing that I've championed before in the past. So I want to keep on doing that. So we're gonna have some fun with that tonight. And I'll give you a little bit more updates on my website. I know it should have been done by now, but I find little things I want to add here and there. And that intro that you saw is going to be a little bit something that I'm going to weasel on into the site. So, yeah, it's going to be fun for the shows. Like we're going to have we're going to have a fun Games Revealed show slash podcast, whatever this thing is. Plus, I am really serious about getting onto Framework. I really like what they're doing, and so I'm really excited. Yes, we're also going to talk about the 9070 XT. I should have thrown that on the thumbnail. I didn't. But Lumkey, good. I spent all day checking if there are any N70 XT review on Linux. Did find one, so I'm happy. Well, the good thing about AMD on Linux is that it's supported pretty well. So I'd be shocked if 970 didn't work well on Linux, but we'll have to see. Because I'm with you on that. Because I'll probably still have a Windows box this year, but I am gravitating towards a hybrid system of gaming on Linux and productivity on Mac. But we'll see. We'll see. Well, a pretty good. Oh yeah, and I can also show this on stream. Yes. So if you guys make sure to at me throughout this whole thing, especially if you want your comment to go up on stream, and I'll throw your comment up there and read it. So yeah, let's do this. This is the Harrier part. I need to get this all set up so I can share my screen better. Um Give me 2 seconds. Wait, where did this go? Aha. Okay. Then don't mind me. Just gonna see if I can get this in here. Okay. I'm gonna start sharing my screen here in a second. I also, as I get some new hardware this year, because the framework is one I already reserved it, by the way. And let's rehash that actually. Let's rehash that just a little bit, because if you guys did not see it, it is a pretty cool little project. And it is being touted more for LLMs, which is AI, but let's rehash that a little bit right now, and then we'll get into our one of the topics I'm excited for. So let me just get the screen sharing going. I wonder if I can. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, guys. So here it is. This okay, well, first off, let's do a little bit of we're like I said, we'll come back to this in a second because both this is looking to be a really good contender for. I don't know if I'd go as far as game of the year, but um, it could be. They won like the last time they released a game, it was game of the year. So, but let's. I really want to dive into this framework. Uh, yeah. Well, my session expired. So, okay, guys. This is something that I always tout that I'm going to get something and I don't get it, partially because various amounts of different reasons. But this year is going to be a different year. It's looking up with everything, so I'm doubling down and getting this framework I reserved, and I'll show you what I reserved and why, and kind of like rehash this just real quick, and then we'll get back into the other things. Lomkey, it's as don't well seem without very new patch, maybe a week or two, then it's all good. Yeah. So with new Lomkey, with new GPUs and stuff like that, that tends to be the case. Honestly, anything these days tends to be the case that you kind of want to either wait a few weeks for the bugs to iron out or just get it and just know that you're gonna have to wait a few weeks if there's any issues. That just tends to be the case. So okay, okay, guys. So, and let me know in chat what you think of this if you are still eyeing this over. I know I talked about this last week, but the framework desktop is one of these it's one of these projects that I think is fundamental for the expansion of PC gaming personally. It's like another step in the direction of console gamers being able to maybe move over to uh, PC gaming. I think the Steam Deck is a very natural way, and I think Framework isn't the end all be all because it's not going to be easy for them to move over. Like, but I do think if Valve partnered up with Framework to make a Steam machine, that'd be perfect. It honestly is pretty close to what they should be making for a Steam machine, anyways, in my opinion. Now, if they can just get that performance, well, not the performance down, but the performance like steadied about what this is, but get that price down a little bit, because this is a very multi-purpose device, and we'll talk about that in a second. So, what I mean by that is that the base, the lowest tier starts with 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is awesome. And to be fair, I really wish RAM modules would get a little cheaper, but it starts off with 32 gigs of RAM. It goes up to 64 gigabytes of RAM, and then it goes up to 128. You could probably guess which one I reserved. I got the 128 gigabyte. In fact, this is what I pre-ordered. I pre-ordered the 128 gigabyte, and partially because eventually I'm going to use this probably for a main PC for a little while, and then I'm going to convert it over to something else as we get going along, and we'll convert to something else, me personally, and then convert this into an AI, uh, essentially an AI pet. I want to train it, have fun with it. I reserved it with 2 terabytes of the. I can't remember if I went with the more. I think I went with this right here. The 2 terabytes of the WD Black. I only got one. There's two options. I have another 2 terabyte that I'm going to slap into this, so I'll have 4 terabytes of memory on it, and then I'm going to be setting up. I don't know if I'm going to set up a NAS box or something. I'll set up some external storage that can be shared between my Mac and this device. And so I'm going to be having a lot of fun with tech this year, and I'm going to be doing a lot of fun videos around that this year too. I have it all set up. I'm also going to be contacting Framework to see if I can get an additional unit for testing, so and for video stuff because honestly, it's an awesome thing. So, as far as like the CPU, I got the one with the ARGB. I don't know why I went with that, but that's what I went with. Um, and then I went with just bringing my own. I'm gonna throw on Bazite or SteamOS onto this thing. Like I said, I went with a none. Bring your own for that, and then also, if you didn't notice, the performance there is a performance difference between these two, like 32 gigabyte, 64, and 128. And so there is that. Uh, yeah, these two are about the same, but I had to get 128 gigabyte once again, for no reason except for I wanted I wanted something that I could eventually use as my AI base. Plus, on top of that, I do use a lot of RAM depending on what I'm doing, and I'm really gonna run this through the rails of I'll probably dual boot Windows onto this in the beginning just to see performance wise, like with Unreal Engine and all that. But with the Mac Studio or Mac Mini that I'm gonna get, I'm gonna make sure it's good enough for my game development. Because like I said, production is going to be on Mac OS, and my play and some other technical stuff that will be on Linux. And I'll still do. We'll see. I still will probably have some type of dual boot with Windows, but we'll see down the road. Side panel, I went with the translucent. I just think it looks better. Not sure why it doesn't show that. It's probably because I don't have the screen fully widened. Tiles, I went with a couple of different ones. I'm going to 3D print some too. I think I ended up getting enough for the whole thing, but I am going to be getting one of these for Susie. And then I'll like, once again, I'm going to see if Framework will send one for testing and all that. And me or Susie will take that one once we're done. And then, yeah. Another cool thing about this is that it's very portable. I can put it out into the living room and play off of it. I'm gonna have my ROMs and do a lot of stuff with it, including testing out eGPUs with this thing. I'm just excited about it. Let's just say that. Coming down to it, expansion cards. I didn't think I was gonna get anything too crazy with this device, but I ended up getting two USB-Cs. I don't know. I can't remember if I got a USB-A. USB-A is on the back, so I don't really care for that much. I'm trying to get everything upgraded into USB-C. And then did get a micro SD, and then I got a 1 terabyte. I reserved a 1 terabyte storage, and I did that because I am going to have potentially multiple of these in the house, and I can take that and have my ROMs and other save stuff on there, and I can swap it out. So that's kind of my case for this. And if it works with an eGPU really well, like I'm not gonna expect 50, 90 performance with this thing. You're not gonna expect that. What I want is to get either the 9070 XT, probably the 9070 XT is probably what I'm going to shoot for, or maybe try an NVIDIA one. We'll see. I like sometimes these eGPUs work a little bit better with one or the other, unless you get like if you have an enclosure, that is. If you get one that's built in, like a mobile, like say 7700, I think there's a couple of those. They work pretty well in a self-contained, but you can't ever upgrade them. So we'll see. Maybe I'm gonna potentially request for a couple as I do this project throughout the year, and test those and come up with like the perfect on the go, small, kind of budgeted PC game, like PC master kind of thing. Yeah. So if you guys are trying to message, I don't know why, but my messages aren't coming through. So give me a second as I need to double check. Maybe I can get it. I'm gonna bring it up on here. Give me just 2 seconds. Take a small break because I don't think I'm getting your guys' stuff, and I'm gonna go to. Here we go. Yeah, I have been missing your guys' stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna be on my iPad right here. I'm gonna rearrange everything so that I can read your guys's. Ugh. Okay. So let's see what some of you guys are saying about all this. It's Cat Smith for you. My phone charges so stinking fast. That's great to hear. Mine. I just throw mine on overnight and I don't ever have to charge it. But I also use an iPad throughout the day too. Glumkey, good. I spend all day checking if there's any. Okay, yeah, we read that one already, and we'll get to the N70 XT AMD stuff in a little bit. Deckard, Steam has a visual novel sale going on and some banger titles that are compatible with Steam Deck. That's actually really cool. I'll have to check out some of that. I don't mind visual novels, but I tend to lean towards just stuff that I can watch while, especially throw on stuff that's in the background while I work on my other stuff. Lumkey, the framework PC, you can take it with you to a hotel so small. It really is that small. This thing is a beast in a little box, and I love it. And it has a little handle. I hope I'm getting one with a handle. I didn't actually think about that. I don't think there's an I don't think there's an option for it, but yeah. So I'm gonna be tempting. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm an iPad kid. To be fair, iPads are just really easy, and I don't. Some people expect I use them, and I use them in a way that works very well for me. Okay. So BT Maverick, if Xbox does the hybrid console next gen, that would definitely be a good. Man, I wish I could share these on the screen. I have no clue why. See if we can restart it. Whatever. I'll see if I can fix that later. Um, make sure to at me too. Maybe that will help bring it up onto my other screen so I can throw them up onto the so people can read it along with me reading it. um, okay, BT Maverick. If Xbox does the hybrid console next gen, that would definitely be a good gateway for console gamers to get why PC gaming is awesome. I agree. Um, a hybrid console. What would you expect a hybrid console like the Switch or? I think there's a lot of room for Xbox to definitely improve this whole system. I just don't know what it fully is yet, and if they should go fully. Like honestly, I think a lot of these companies should probably start gravitating towards more handheld that can be plugged in and expanded upon. Kind of like the Wii U in some form or fashion, but not really the Wii U. You know what I'm saying? Um, okay, so uh Epic Games Store Mobile is giving away KOTOR 1 and 2 for mobile. Ooh, good call out, Raichi. Fanatical has a great discount for Sucker for Love. Ooh, I already bought it. But that's a good one. And in fact, I should do some giveaways when I play the next Sucker for Love with that. BT Maverick, thank you for adding me. It still did not show up on the stupid thing. Whatever. I'll have to work. I'll mention the Riverside. BT Maverick, games revealed. Speaking of ROMs, did you see the Sonic Unleashed recompiled? Could be a great way of essentially porting old games to PC. I did see that. I did not see it. We can let's let's go into that in a second. Microsoft's so much into AI, they'll be late to the game. Like there's no like there no like here's the thing with Xbox. If they really wanted to play this right, they could easily I think they could easily get a game mode put into the Windows operating system in the sense of take the Xbox app, expand it a little bit more, like just a little bit more to support games, more games that are on it, like maybe Steam and some other stuff potentially, and just make it completely full screen when the thing pops up and make it more controller friendly. That's all they have to do. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's not for them. That's all they would really have to do to make that, and then they would just have to acquire another company that is a handheld company. I think that's all they would really have to do to get into the handheld game. They could acquire maybe one of the lower end. No, I shouldn't say lower end, but there's a couple of device companies out there that 1X Player could be potentially one. These are Chinese based, but I think they could find one of those ones and work with them to create a new Xbox system and get it out quickly. Personally, I think they could do it fairly easily. Uh, in the scheme of things, instead of having to reiterate, just find one of the ones they really like and either partner with them or just buy them all outright. Yeah, that's just my personal take on that. Uh, yeah, acquisition. Companies never acquire or do acquisitions in an appropriate way for me. Like they don't. I don't think that's an. Uh, the other ways they do it is just more to acquire IP so that they can own a market, as opposed to maybe bleed into a market more easily. And I don't know why they're not doing that. It's crazy. And their bet on the AI is also about to pop. I've been reading some articles on how the AI bubble is about to pop potentially, and I think they're right. I think it's going to become more like, and I've mentioned it before in the past, like with the R1 um, uh, um, AI from China. It democratizes a little bit more, which is an interesting thing, and it helps make it so it costs a lot less. And like I believe the R1 would be able to run on the Mac Mini, not Mac Minis, but the Mac Studios are coming out with a 512 gigabyte ones. The full R1, from my understanding, can run on that, which is crazy. It's crazy to think that you just need one of those Mac Studios, which, to be fair, that's going to be like a $7,000 device because of the way they do RAM pricing. But if Framework did something like that, it'd be like a $3,000, and you could have yourself an R1 that you'd never have to pay. You just pay like some money per year for the power, and that's it. And you have a full AI system that you can train and do everything. Fun stuff. Um, so yeah, this is essentially what I reserved. I'm really excited to be getting the Framework desktop. I just wanted to show it because ordering more than one. Okay. Uh, I'm excited about this, and it's something where it's very AI centric and like machine learning, like I mentioned here. But I can do so much more with this, and I think it will game pretty well, and it's going to be able to play all the games that I'm really interested in. So I definitely recommend you guys check this out once again. I'm going to throw this out here into chat just so that um, you guys have a link for it. Um, okay, let's see what other people have said. Lumkey, Microsoft so much, or Raichi, Xbox just needs to a box so people have an easy way to use Game Pass. Game sales could be done on Steam. I agree, but they are. I honestly think the Game Pass is not the winning model that they want it to be, and so we'll see. We'll see how it goes for them. I just don't think it's a winning model for them. I have a feeling that they're going to pivot in the next year or two. And I think what they're going to do, and it's going to suck, is that I think they're going to fracture Game Pass and make it so that like new games you're going to have to buy on Game Pass. And then they'll have like Netflix style of a lot of older or semi maybe after a year new games catalog that you'll just be able to play. That being said, I think it's a pretty good deal if that's the way you want to go. I personally like to own my games, so I don't have to like if I can expect that. Uh, Here's my thing with subscriptions. I don't mind subscriptions depending on what it is, and I pay for some subscriptions for some channels that I believe in or enjoy their extra content. But that's a little different than me wanting to pay for access to a game that I might play on and off for the next year, and I don't want to stop the subscription and then not have access to that game and my saves for that. And so I don't know. I'd rather outright buy the game and know that 5 years down the road, I can just play it and not think about, oh, I played it on that platform. Well, okay, that sucks. I'll have to figure out a way, see if it's still there, if there's a way to get the saves, if they're not synced up with Steam and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay. So I am curious though. We'll move on. Yeah, what comes up always comes down. Lone key, yeah, yeah. BT Maverick games revealed hybrid Xbox with a desktop mode where you can get Epic, Steam, GOG stores on your Xbox. See, I don't think they'll ever do that. Um, that just doesn't seem like something Microsoft would do. That being said, well, I'd be curious to see what they do end up doing. Um, Now you could make like an ultimate box of like attach Xbox to the side of it, and then and then attach this framework. Kind of like what I'm going to do with my Mac Mini Mac Studio framework hodgepodge of a system. And then I have a KVM. Oh, and by the way, I think was it Raichi? I think you were on Off the Consoles podcast live stream, or what? I think it was you, but it was and I believe you asked a question of using a KVM with this system I'm going to use. Yes, I have a KVM right now that I switch between my systems, and so I would honestly, I'm looking at a 3 computer KVM, and I might even do that. We'll see though. The only they only have Game Pass left because they ruined the Xbox. Buy the game $70 just to play it when it is worth $5. Well, I mean, I don't buy the games. If I buy a game for $70, I'm almost always going to play it, but I might buy a game, play it, and then I want to go back and play it. And yeah, I could buy it for $5 later down the road, but honestly, I'd rather just own it. I like the concept that I don't like deep down in my soul. I like that. I know that I could pick it up. And even if I'm dirt poor and I have a Steam Deck, I could play that game 5 years down the road. I'm destitute because everything's gone and we're now a province of Canada or something like that. I don't know. BT Maverick, Phil Spencer did talk about getting Epic Store and another storefront on the console. It is a thing they were talking about. I did not know that, BT Maverick. That's crazy. We'll see if they do that. That is interesting. Um, that is interesting. I still have a hard time believing that. What Epic Store? I guess I could see Epic Store doing that. I don't think the Xbox brand is completely ruined. I just think they need more exclusives. And the problem is if they do an exclusive with all the companies they bought, they will piss off a lot of people. Uh, let's say the next Elder Scrolls is exclusive for 2 years on the Xbox. You know, and no PC or anything like that. You know, people would buy the Xbox for that. I would buy an X. Actually, I don't know. I might wait 2 years. I'm not the biggest Elder Scrolls fan, but if it was like Fallout, then I'd probably buy an Xbox for that. There's a couple of games I would buy an Xbox for, and that is one of the things that drives Xbox sells and PlayStation sells is exclusives and uh performance. Consoles are just you put your game in, you play it, and it just works. It's very if you want a game, you game. And I'm actually kind of digging it more and more. I've been playing a little bit more console based games, so it's been nice lately. Um, okay. Foonbooter, dude, you're getting a Dell. I mean, framework. What's wrong with framework? I like this, uh, but it is a little pricey. But once again, it's gonna be my pet project for the year. Because there's no Steam Decks. If there's a Steam Deck 2 coming out, maybe I'd save it for that. Lomkey, Phil Spencer's not the CEO. Only problem they have higher up may say no. True. They may or may not. Phil Spencer is a big voice in it. I could easily see Epic Store maybe, but at the same time, I don't know why they would still have to probably pay a premium. Meaning like Epic Store would have to pay like 5-10% to be on there of their sales. I don't see any benefit from Xbox doing that. They would lose out on sales. If anything, they'd lose a lot of money. BT Maverick, a lot of Xbox games are starting to have cross saves from Xbox to Steam, like Indiana Jones and Avoid. Yes, Avowed, that is. Yes, they are starting to do more cross, and that's the thing. They are doing that, so there's some hope there. Yep. Okay, so let us um go. It Takes Two. Um, it Takes Two follow up Split Fiction. Fiction system requirements are here, and it's verified for Steam Deck and potato PCs alike, which you always gotta love that. This photo right here actually makes it look pretty promising too. I'm gonna shrink this down a little bit more. Okay, so this is looking promising. I'm definitely going to say that this is both looking really good. Like these images show that it looks good. Like it graphically, it looks like it's going to have has a little bit of a cartoony, like a very stylized um, fantasy, obviously in this case, feel to it, and that really does help it feel like it will help it run better on the Steam Deck. And so um yeah, so Haze Light. Actually, let's look at this real quick. Um, so Haze Light Studios, renowned for the titles like It Takes Two and A Way Out, has released their latest co-op adventure Split Fiction. The game follows two writers, Mio and Zoe, who become I don't know if I said that right, but who became trapped who become trapped in their own stories, blending sci-fi and fantasy elements. Players must collaborate to navigate diverse environments, solve puzzles, and combat enemies, making teamwork essential. The game has been lauded for its innovative gameplay and compelling narrative, positioning it as a strong contender for Game of the Year for 2025. Is what some of the places I've seen are saying. And also the reviews are coming out pretty strong. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. I'm seeing some other big wins from other people that are really excited for this. And usually with these types of games, usually yeah, people because they're both there's two female protagonists. Usually have people screaming about any female that is a protagonist anymore. They just scream about it and try to cancel the game or whatever you want to say. Like uh, they care a little too much. It's always hilarious. But I'm not seeing that with this. I think a lot of people are just really excited for a very down to earth co-op game that is becoming more rare and rare to be able to play a couch co-op. It's couch co-op, or you could play it with other people across the pond if you wanted. So Hazelite, Hazelight. I don't know why I called it Hazel. Hazelight Studios is set to release Split Fiction on March 6th, which is tomorrow. The game is designed for cooperative multiplayer, following the journey of two authors trapped within their own stories, which I already read. But yes, it is going to be an exciting time for us who like narrative-driven stuff, especially fantasy and sci-fi. And if you've seen the trailer, and I probably should add a trailer in here, but next time they go in and out of the story in sci-fi and then fantasy and then different stories that these authors wrote. The requirements for this, like the minimum requirements, are going to be an Intel Core i5 6600K or an AMD Ryzen 5 2600K, 16 gigabytes of memory, graphics card equivalent to a 9070 or a Radeon RX 4070, which is really promising. To be fair, for the Steam Deck, with the exception of this memory of being 16 gigabytes, which is another reason why I'm kind of worried about some games just not having quite enough memory, but because the Steam Deck has 16 gigabytes of memory, but it's shared. But they are working on this to be Steam Deck day one compatible, I believe. But the resolution is set to a 1080p native here, so having that go down to an 800p, because that's the max resolution of the Steam Deck, will probably help with this. Um, let's see. Uh, did I lose track of the Steam Deck portion of this? Okay, Steam Deck owners will be pleased to note that Split Fiction is also verified for the platform. That approval doesn't necessarily mean it will run really well, but it should mean that you can expect to jump right in without having to mess around with settings to get an enjoyable experience. Mind you, split screen action on a 7-inch display is going to involve compromises of some kind. Still, thanks to Hazelight's Friends Pass system, which is awesome. If you buy one, you can give one to your friend. And I think there's also Steam Play, where you can play with if you're playing, they can jump on in and just start playing. Um, yes, friends will be able to game together, even if only one of your okay. Yep. Friends Pass is on the game. So it's cross-platform compatible too, although that requires signing up for the EA account. Fortunately, not EA's app, which is whew, that's good. At least that's a good step forward. My partner and I thought and enjoyed It Takes Two, and it was one of the best co-op gaming experiences I've ever had in a long time. I agree with that. It Takes Two, if you guys not played it yet, is an awesome game, and it looks like we have someone that we need to ban in chat. Um, I don't know if I. So, um, I don't know if we have a mod in here, but let's ban Elsa. Um, Wolf, if you're there, someone else, I'm pretty sure I need to. We'll deputize some more mods later. So it's this sounds like, and what I've seen, it doesn't look like it's the most graphically demanding game. It's going to play pretty well on the Steam Deck, and that's why I bring this up. Is this is another game that's coming out in 2025 that will be Steam Deck compatible. I'm excited for that. To be fair, okay, guys. Let's see here. Raichi, Microsoft seems happy only getting 70% from PlayStation port sales. I mean, yeah, I think any percentage of money they probably wouldn't have had with an IP, they're going to be happy with. CatSmith for you. No problem, man. Yeah, I don't know how to either, especially on the phone. Lomkey, everything is a potato PC. Why we have upscaling tech and frame gen? Lomkey, how dare you? It is not a potato. Like my PC is not a potato, even if I choose to use FSR. Um, that is interesting because I do think with all these price changes and everything going on with the GPU market, I think you're going to see more people gravitate towards more all-in PCs and just altogether PCs that are like the Steam Deck framework. I do think that's going to start becoming a trend because and there's always going to be people that are like wanting to, like, I'm sure in like a year or two I'm going to want to max out my graphics again, but right now I kind of just want simplicity and a fun project and not sit there and try to sweat over getting a $2,000 GPU. So to those who are going to, good luck. Not that it's bad, just kind of annoying. um Itch.io was the other storefront Phil mentioned. Oh, okay, so itch.io. Itch.io is an interesting one where it's a lot. I wonder if they would moderate that one because I don't think itch is very moderated, like moderated well, and it's a lot of very um should I say artsy, but like very. Let's go to it. I'll show you. Brave of me to do it this way. It has a lot of indie and what is before indie, like almost not games because they're so bad. Itch.io is a pretty interesting place. So you can buy games and then you can also download games for free. So if you're like just curious about demakes, whatever it is, there's a lot of games here that are free, and ones that you can also download, I believe, too. So like this right here probably is something that's coming soon. The Moth Inside Me, a short dream simulation game. Download, name your own price. That is awesome. This actually looks like a pretty sweet demakey game. It looks like a Resident Evil style game that's, and they call it kind of a demake. It's usually a demake of like I don't think this is actually a game, so this might not be considered a demake, but demakes are typically games that existed, that exist, and then they make them down into like PlayStation graphics, right? If someone wants to correct me, they can correct me if I'm wrong. But here's this. It's kind of cool. I'll showcase it for them. Let's see. So if rumors are true, the next Xbox, this is according to Raichi, is going to be in 2026. Now, I believe believe more in rumors than what comes out of Phil Spencer's mouth. Yeah, I would be shocked if 2026 was the Xbox year, unless they're flipping their strategy over to, excuse me, over to handheld Xbox, like a handheld Xbox, and or switching over to some type of different system, whether it be everything's, they continue with their everything's an Xbox path that they've done in the past. There's it will be interesting to see where PlayStation, because I do feel like PlayStation and Xbox are kind of going to divert a little bit as we continue on in the next few years with the releases. I really do think they're going to find their footing and they're going to kind of just change directions a little bit. Or maybe they'll wise up and they'll kind of go a more hybrid route of mobile slash plug into TV, kind of like a Switch. I definitely think going with a little bit mobile friendly APU style handheld direction where it's very portable next gen might be the best route for them personally. If they can, like, whenever the tech is viable for a PlayStation 5 on the go that looks the same as PlayStation 5 but on the go is probably what they should do and should be their next strategy personally. Okay. So yeah, this is itch.io. If you guys didn't know, it's a pretty cool little website. I've thought about posting like some of my one-off garbage games that I've made in the past on here that are not good, but maybe one day, maybe I'll do a game jam and do it and throw it up on here at one point. That'd be cool. Okay, so um, let us go to the Deckard project. Let me get to this a going. Raichi, finally aware the opponent, our degeneracy will be legendary. Okay, Cat. Raichi. Lumkey, I think one Valve drops a console PC, we will have copycat all over. Not a bad thing. Valve will want that. Yeah, 100% Lumkey. Well, I honestly think with SteamOS dropping, I think a lot of people are going to try to get it to run on, let's say, frameworks and stuff like that. Framework, I mean, Bazite, you could get it to just, I'm sure it will install great on framework. And so I'm excited to see where this all goes because I think framework's a great start. It's just expensive. They need to get the power that's in framework into a $600 device, and I think they'll have something. And maybe that's just, I mean, the base one is $1,000. I wonder, maybe just getting enough cells could bump it down to 600. Because yeah, that's the base without anything. It's a little pricey. I bet you in a maybe a year they could chip that down. So okay. Um itched got not safe for work stuff. Yes, it does. But I their front page doesn't. So that's why I went there. And Rachie, it's just very cultured, if you know what I mean. Yes. But going to the front page, it's usually pretty safe. Yes, BT Maverick. It is a pretty cool indie place. There's a lot of games there that you can try out for. BT Maverick, I think we'll see an OEM from ROG and some other brands before the next Xbox comes out with their hardware console or handheld. OEM handheld from Xbox. Yeah, we could. I don't it would be interesting to see where these other, because I do think the handheld market is getting saturated. People will buy a handheld and probably keep it for a few years. There's a lot of people that are just going to buy one. They're going to pick one. I think they're going to kind of finally pick their flavor of handheld because they all have a little bit difference, and stick with that for a few years, and then probably upgrade cycle will be every 3 to 4 years. It could get a little stagnant, and that's what it sounds like. Sales are getting stagnant for both Steam Deck and some of these other devices, partially because it's just, even with laptops, people don't upgrade their laptop every year. But once you get into an upgrade cycle where let's say they release one every year, well, eventually people are going to be buying one every year. Like, they'll buy one every 3 years, but someone's going to have to buy one every year. Like, with the way it goes, the cycles will always be someone buying one that year, unless there's a big release like the Steam Deck 2. Okay. So, let me pull up my notes. So, this this one, the Deckard is such an interesting thing. We're going to speculate about it a little bit. I personally think that the Deckard is going to get announced in some form or fashion by the end of this year. If that's not, because we've been like, it's been 2 or 3 years since we first heard about it, and I think we've we pretty much know they. It was about 3 years ago. It was right after the Steam Deck release that I believe it was either one of the engineers on the Steam Deck or Gabe himself mentioned that they are wanting to put a Steam Deck inside of a headset for the next VR. And then we've had a lot of leaks about stuff over the years. I personally welcome it as Meta is like the only one really doing VR stuff right now, and I'm kind of over VR. So I think this is an exciting time. Let's see. So Valve is reportedly developing a new VR headset, codenamed Deckard. Rumors suggest that this device will feature a split 1440p resolution display with 120 hertz refresh rate and operate on a modified version of SteamOS. This development could position the Deckard as a standalone VR headset, potentially expanding the accessibility and appeal of virtual reality gaming. And I agree with that in the sense of if this came out, this would be a big deal for VR games as Valve will most likely release some type of software game with it. Now, um, rumors surrounding the Valve's headset suggests it's going to be a significant advancement in virtual reality technology, speculated to be a standalone device like we've already read about without requiring a PC connection. Leaks indicate potential release by the end of 2025. I'd be shocked by that with a projected price point of $1,200, which that's another one I'd be a little shocked about. This development could position Valve as a formidable competitor in the VR market, offering a high-end self-contained VR experience, which they already are kind of a competitor. If you want the best way to play Half-Life Alex, it's on the Valve Index. It's an amazing device. And I'm really curious because we're hearing more and more about Half-Life for not Half-Life 4, Half-Life 3 or Half-Life X. It's codenamed Half-Life X or HLX. We've been seeing that for on and off for I'm honestly we've seen it on and off for years, but it's been picking up a lot more steam, and it'll be really interesting to see if uh Half-Life X comes out with something else. Half-Life X doesn't necessarily mean it's a Half-Life 3. It could be a Half-Life experience on the VR, another one. Or it could be for the Steam Deck. Who knows? It will be very interesting to see which direction they go. But we do know that leaks are coming out, and like a lot of stuff is indicating Half-Life. There's a good chance Half-Life's going to get it announced or come out this year. There's also a good chance that the Deckard project is going to be announced or come out this year. And I would be shocked if we didn't hear some mentions, even if it's in interviews, about the Steam Deck 2 coming out in like a year or two. I would be shocked if we didn't see the Steam Deck 2 next year. That'd be really nice, but we'll see. Okay, let's get back into some comments. Um, Rachie, I can see the Brink in Dr. Octavio moment with his mini PC, the power of desktop in palm of my hand. Yes, that's going to be me holding my powerful machine, my AI pet, my AI god that I create. It will be amazing. Rachie, the Meta Quest already has Qualcomm. AMD can't make a good mobile chip for VR. I don't know if I agree with that. I think the new tech that is out should be enough for VR on a headset like this if optimized. That being said, a lot of the games for Meta are optimized, but we already know that AMD is working with ARM on a chipset, and maybe Valve is a part of that. Maybe there will be an ARM chipset with the Deckard. We don't know. There's a lot of speculation about a lot of stuff, but if I had to put money down, I would be shocked if the Deckard was anything but an ARM chipset matched with some type of AMD tech. And I think they're going to continue that partnership. I would be shocked if it wasn't that way. So we'll see. And then on top of that, I would be shocked if we didn't um, see something come out at the end of this year on this specific topic, the Deckard, because it's 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 something they've been working on for 3 years, and Yeah, I'm really curious to see where they're going to go with this. Um, Valve is working on a way droid from long old leaks, so going open the door for metagames to run on it. Yeah, there's a good chance. Yes, that doesn't always mean that everything they work on comes to fruition. They do a lot of experimenting, a lot of test and trial. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Uh, PT Maverick, I really want that Steam controller that was leaked. Which one was the leaked Steam controller? Let's look that up. This one, this leaked one, Blue Sky. So yeah, something like this would actually. I'm really curious to see how this runs, but I could see this working. I remember seeing this a while ago in some different VR um handset controllers, VR controllers. um, I'm curious how comfortable this is. But I definitely think this would be a good direction to go with the Steam Deck, or with the Steam controller, that is. The original Steam controller, I liked it, and I still have it, but I still prefer something like this. Honestly, what I'd want more than anything is to have a PS5 controller, or have that like resistance feedback and stuff inside of a Steam controller and the Steam Deck too. We'll see if it happens, because I'm sure it's probably even patented tech, but we'll see. It looks like the Steam Deck with the trackpads. Yes, I think this is pretty close to what we saw. Touchpad typing, it's so good. I don't do it though. I just, I don't know if it's I'm just too old, can't do it. Too too annoyed. I'd rather do something. I try to avoid doing it no matter what. Okay, so now what do we talk about? Because I have topics, but um, a short one we can talk about is Acclaim. Let's see. Yeah, let's do this. So Acclaim is coming back. I don't know if you guys remember what Acclaim was, but they did Turok, NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat. I believe all those IPs were sold off when they went under 20 years ago. This, I remember Acclaim being put on games back then, like I said, you know, Mortal Kombat, NBA, Turok, stuff like that. Great. And there was a lot of publishers that went out of business in the 2000s. It's actually crazy how many did. Sierra, who did Half-Life, went out of business. I don't know if they went out of business in the 2000s or in the late 90s, but they went out of business, I think, in the early 2000s. So this, them coming back, and they're doing an original IP, is so interesting. And for one, I don't know what that means. Like, I only bring this up because it's really weird that they come back with a new CEO, like a new owner, and I don't know if they have any more IPs. Like, from my understanding, it's an original IP. So the other target is to resurrect and revitalize its beloved portfolio of classic IPs. But I think they sold a bunch of them up. I don't think they have a whole lot, but I don't know. We'd have to look at a list of all this stuff. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious where this Acclaim stuff's going to go. But I'm glad to see something from the past being resurrected. Titanic, welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing? BT Maverick, the symmetrical sticks up high is the way to go. I don't like the PlayStation lowered symmetrical sticks. They cramp my hands after a while. I agree with that. I feel like with the PS5 though, it has gotten better. Like, I feel like with the PS5, I find myself, like, they cramp up a little bit, and I kind of just move my hands out of the way a little bit, um, like move them down. But I agree, that is one of the downsides of the PS5 controller. So I, the best layout period is on the Steam Deck, in my opinion, for layout, because it's just comfortable for me in my hands. Um, Fumbooter, they're going to make a Mortal Turok, the NBA Hunter Blitz, dude. Fumbooter, I'd be down for that, 100% down for that. Mortal Kombat, Dinosaur, NBA crazy game, I'd be down for that. It'd be something refreshing and new. Plus, have finishers with the basketball that you can just totally just destroy someone's face. Could be fun. NBA Jam was a fun game actually. So so let's see here. Sorry, so Acclaim's coming back. NBA JRPG. If anyone can find a way to make that happen, it'd be the Japanese, for sure. This is another one. I put it into the thumbnail. This is another one that looked kind of interesting for me, news-wise. Is this Cyberpunk Unreal Engine Night Street with dynamic lighting and no lumen? Which I don't get the choice of why you would say no lumen, but it's interesting to say the least. Can you guys see that? Oh wait, sorry, I haven't shared the tab yet. Blam. Okay, and so I like how it has is a tech demo created by Pascal Scianti. It looks cool. It definitely looks much well. Okay, we're gonna improve this. Let's go to 4K. So my only problem with stuff like this and this type of tech, guys, my only problem with this is that it is too shiny. This right here is too shiny. I don't get the point of this type of redo. It's not how it's just a little too much. I don't need to be realistic, and I think that's where some games kind of get it wrong, is just being too realistic with their graphics. This one is cool, but they need to tone down some of the shininess. Even though it looks really cool, it gets in the way a lot. It makes it very hard to distinguish what's going on in this. And if it's becomes too hard to like distinguish things, it can be a little off-putting and not as fun. But this is what Cyberpunk could have been if it was done on the Unreal Engine. And to be fair, CD Projekt Red is going to the Unreal Engine with their new stuff. And I'm still going to say it flat out. I still don't think every Unreal Engine game looks like the I think it all depends on how people build their games out. That being said, would this obviously why would they port this over to the Unreal Engine now? But Cyberpunk 2077 or its next one, whatever it's going to be called. Because I know that they're going to probably would not be called Cyberpunk 2078 or Cyberpunk 2077 2. That would be just asinine. It'd be like calling the Xbox 360 the Xbox 362. But I definitely think this is a good concept of what we could probably expect, because they're, like we talked about, Witcher 4 already being done, and honestly, they're so far. We've seen the trailers for it. They're so far into the game. There would be no reason for them to go back into the Red Engine. And there's so many bugs in the Red Engine, and every time they make a new game, they do a fork of the Red Engine. And it's like you'll see old bugs pop up into new games after they forked. It's just not good. That being said, doing the Unreal Engine allows just a set of engineers to work on the engine itself, then a couple of their engineers that are engine oriented to add a couple additional things to the Unreal Engine that they would specifically need. And these big companies, they do that. they are able to they have access to the source code and are able to essentially fork their own version of the Unreal Engine, and that's probably what will happen with this. And with CD Projekt Red, they'll probably have their own tooling and some of their own stuff forked and built for Witcher 4, and they will probably be for the next Cyberpunk, which I'm here for, personally. Andre, welcome. Hey man, how you doing? Rachie, Need for Speed 2015 looks way better. I disagree, but racing games I don't think are fair comparison. And this is one dude doing a showcase of this game in like Cyberpunk style inside of the Unreal Engine. I actually think this looks really good. Some textures, some things could be done a little better, but this is a one person kind of thing, and I don't think that's fair comparison. That being said, Need for Speed 2015 does look really good. Rachie, well, they did make it with the Yasuke simulator. Interesting. Lomkey, I don't get companies they move to Unreal Engine to save money, but end up spending even more money to make a game. So, Lomkey, this is very, this is my opinion from here on out. And I think it's a very strong opinion. And let's run this again, but without the audio this time. So, this right here is a lot easier to make than to have your own engine and manage your own engine, your own engine in different games, your own engine, just so many different parts of creating an engine is not easy. This is one thing that people get kind of messed up on a lot. A lot of game companies have messed up, and I think honestly one of the big mess ups for CD Projekt Red was running their own engines all this time. One of the weakest things that CD Projekt Red has always had is bugs and certain graphical issues, and just like Witcher 1 and 2 just didn't, I don't think, looked that great. Witcher 2 looked a little, like, it definitely looked much better than Witcher 1, but if they would have run with a different engine, it probably would have looked just a little better and not so weird at times. Once again, older games, it is what it is. So the big win of using your own, or using a widespread engine, is that a lot more bugs are fixed, a lot more technologies are available that you don't have to keep on adding in, because trust me, doing streaming or texture streaming and a lot of these other techs is just it's you're reinventing the wheel every time, and these big companies are going to have to reinvest a lot of money into it when they could just partner up with, let's say, Epic, and have like a really strong partnership with a very strong contract for years to come, that they then can modify an engine that's much easier and has a lot more support for them to modify if they need to. That is kind of the whole point. Halo Infinite messed up a lot with its engine. Yeah. A good example of an engine that does really well is maybe it is, what's the Red engine is not the Resident Evil one, is it? Am I getting engines mixed up? I don't know. So Resident Evil has its own engine. Capcom has its own engine for Resident Evils and a couple other games that actually do really well. They're highly optimized. They do like, that is an engine. I would not recommend Resident Evil to go to their own engine, or to go to Unreal, that is. I'd recommend them to keep on using their own engine, but they make very specific games that are very good for that engine. There's no point for them to move on to a different engine. CD Projekt Red and a lot of these other ones where they do open world games or games that are very complex, in my opinion, not like Resident Evil, I would not put it down as complex. It's very formulaic. It is, you go from point A to point B, and you're going to have boss battles, you're going to have a couple of puzzles and whatnot, but it's not complicated. So, in fact, let's see. Here's Witcher 4. Let me know if you can hear that. So it's complex, and they've had struggles, and they, like, a lot of the issues that Cyberpunk 2077 had would have not happened if they would have just used Unreal 4 or Unreal 5. I mean, they probably would have ended up having to use Unreal 4 when they started Cyberpunk, that would have prevented their issues of Cyberpunk 2077. That's why I've recommended, you can go back to videos back when I did a different podcast of me talking about this. I 100% think they would have had a super successful launch of Cyberpunk 2077 if they did not use their own engine. And so they've learned from that. And hopefully they didn't fire much of their engine team. I'm hoping that they convert, like, both use them to improve the past games, but to also use them with Unreal and to train them up for that. Because that team still deserves a lot. It's just they had so many bugs, so much issues that were always popping up all the time that yeah, sorry, I going off on this. It is, engines are crucial, and it is much better to work with a company that specializes in engines, and the Unreal Engine is one of my favorites. Now, I wish Valve would get their shit together and get Source 2 and Source 3, like, really go into like what Epic's done. Really create an engine that is for the masses, for indies, for everything. Epic has a really good pricing plan, and they're much more predictable than, let's say, Unity. Right now, they are not owned solely by any one company. I believe what's his face has full control of 51% of it, but it is still owned and it still has stakeholders from other people, but they still can do their own thing and are not completely controlled by other stakeholders. They have a lot of say in the directions and what they do. Where Unity had a really stupid CEO last year, let's see, a year and a half ago, that nearly tanked the company and lost them hundreds of millions. Just future contracts, just so much they lost. It is asinine to think that these companies know what they're doing at times, especially when they're trying to be beholden to stakeholders. So yeah. BT Maverick, the RE engine. Yes, that is the Resident Evil engine. So RE engine is the Resident Evil engine, which abbreviation hard is great, except for open world games like Dragon Dogma and Monster Hunter. Oh, do those use the RE engine? Okay, there you go. RE engine, and I could see that. The RE engine works really good though for the Resident Evil games. Like, you can play the Resident Evil games on your Steam Deck. That's how optimized and how good the engine is. This is, you can tell this is a Witcher game by how I don't know if it's an actual, like, this is a Witcher 5 concept gameplay on Unreal Engine 5 Lumen 199. It's just kind of fun. I threw it on here just more for the background. They do get the tree shaking very good, which is funny because in Witcher 3, if you guys don't notice, like, the trees spaz so hard, it's really annoying. Okay. Lomkey, the team, I bet they're that team, I bet they're still around with Apple funding the port. Cyberpunk team, I mean, with Apple funding the port. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Oh yeah, the engine team, I'm sure is that. I'd be shocked if they got rid of that type of talent. They companies have done that in the past. Essentially, lose the ability to bring their game back from the dead, almost. So, dude, I'd be down for a game like. Trust me, I really think that The Witcher 4 on Unreal Engine 5 was the right choice, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. I really think I'm going to enjoy it. I think it's going to be, fingers crossed, less buggy, but I think it's going to be worth it. Once again, to reiterate, this is not Witcher 4 gameplay. This is a conceptual what Witcher 5 could look like with all the fancy bells and whistles of Unreal 5. So, good stuff. Let's just say great stuff. Love seeing this type of thing. Okay, so um speaking of speaking of Monster Hunter Wilds, like you guys mentioned, leads new game charge on Steam Deck most played chart. Um, Another month has passed, and movers and shakers in the Steam Deck played games provide a few shocks, including Monster Hunter Wilds barreling towards the top 10 despite its poor performance, which some people are thirsty for like the new Monster Hunter for the Steam Deck, which, to be fair, Monster Hunters are best, I think, on a Steam Deck esque type of thing because there's so much grinding and all that. It's just feels like it's best on that type of device. Um, the biggest surprise is the influx of newly released AAA games on the list, suggesting that Steam Deck owners are comfortable with trying to run the latest games on the handheld, even if performance isn't ideal. Despite being the best handheld gaming PC for most gamers, the Steam Deck is undeniably falling down the pecking order when it comes to overall system power, as we saw in the Asus ROG Ally X review. And I mean, yeah, this is obvious PC gamer and um, PC games, and that is. Um, it's not shocking. It's not shocking to know that like the Steam Deck needs to do a little better, in the sense of like Steam Deck 2. It's not really on the Steam Deck per se. They're doing the best they can. It's really very powerful machine for what you get and price and everything. But we need just a performance bump or like an innovation enough to where it will start playing every game that comes out. Because I feel like the Legion Go or the ROG Ally, if you tweak it just right, you can probably end up playing anything for the next few years. I'd like to see the Steam Deck 2 be able to do that. That's why I think I would rather pay an extra $100 flat out. I don't know about you guys. I'd rather pay an extra $100 for the Steam Deck 2 to make sure it is a little bit more future proofed. Because if they don't, then I might as well stick with the Steam Deck 1. But we'll see. We'll see. This is always interesting to see the Steam Deck top played. I don't think I'm sharing it. Let me share that with you guys. Um, Balatro, top, of course. Stardew Valley, perfect game for the Steam Deck, and I've played it a little bit. Baldur's Gate 3 still shocks me to this day that this game is on this list, as it gets much worse the further into the game you get. Elden Ring, fairly well optimized for this. Red Dead Redemption 2, I'd have to look at this again, but I didn't think this ran very well on the Steam Deck, but I could be wrong. Hades 2, of course, is going to run great. Don't know anything about Kingdom Come for Steam Deck. Marvel Rivals, I believe, runs fairly decent. Cyberpunk 2077 does not run that well on the Steam Deck, and I'm still shocked that it's here. And then, of course, we go down and down. Some of these games hit or miss on how well they play on the Steam Deck. It's always interesting. So it's number 3 on the list. It actually, where is it? Monster Hunter Wilds probably was number 3. It's right here. I wonder why it dropped down to 19. I think you're right, Lomki. I think it was number 3, and this is an updated list. So this is now Monster Hunter World. Oh no, this is Monster Hunter World. This is not even Wilds. Interesting. Monster Hunter Wilds is down here at 26. Interesting. Deep Rock Galactic is always a good game, but this is like their survivor version of it. I'll have to give that a try sometime. Okay, enough spouting off with me and all this stuff. It's number 26. Yeah, Lone Key. It's always so weird. I have to come back and play Witcher 3 and see how if it's been optimized even more for Steam Deck and see how it plays, because that's one of those games I'd actually really like to play again and play it on the Steam Deck. Do you guys have anything else you want to cover today, or are we going to be ending this a little early? I'm more than happy to cover anything else you guys have. I'm pretty much ran through everything I believe I had. Let's check out Discord, see if there's anything here you guys might have. Oh, looks like Wolf has some. Looks like Wolf has something we'll have to throw in here. Let's see. I'm getting all lost up in here. Okay. Let's look at this. This is at least fun speculation. I don't think it's real. So Notebook check. Valve Steam Deck 2 leaked AMD Aerith Plus APU sparks Deck's successor speculation through questions linger. Though questions linger, that is. Oh, the 9070 XT we never talked about. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Of course. I'm going to talk about the 9070. Thank you there, Chris. You will talk about it here in a second. The Steam Deck has been around for 3 years, but hasn't received a single hardware performance upgrade since launch. The console's aging 6 nanometer APU based on the Zen 2 Plus and RDNA 2 unsurprisingly struggles in many modern titles, although a recent shipping manifest hinted at a refreshed APU for the Steam Deck. An industry expert was quick to shoot it down. And they could shoot it down for myriad of different reasons, but I think like Wolf was saying, like people were saying in the Discord, that it is most likely going to be probably the Deckard or some other type of project. Could be even some additional research units and all that. So, yeah, Mm, it will be interesting to. I don't know. I'm really curious to see what type of APU architecture that this Deckard project's going to have, and if they can't get the right balance, I don't think we're going to see the Deckard come out anytime soon. If they can't get a good standalone performance VR headset, then we're not going to see one. Okay, let's go over to the 9070 XT. I think actually, hold on. I should have some notes on this. Hold up. Okay, here are my notes. Let me see if I can get like a good website with this real quick. Guess we're going to the Verge. Come on, come on. Okay. Okay, guys. So the NVIDIA GeForce RTX. Oh my gosh, I don't know what. I did not mean to do this one. Oh well. This was the wrong link I grabbed. Why not? We'll do the IGN Radeon RX 9070 XT review. So, guys, this I know Linus from Linus Tech Tips is just salivating over this in the sense of like it's a mid-range chip, and we'll get to your guys' answers or questions here in a second. Actually, let's see. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Sorry. Okay, so this has been touted as like a pretty impressive little device. It was, AMD has unveiled its latest graphics card, the Radeon RX 9070 and 9070 XT, aiming it to deliver high-end performance, high-end performance at more accessible price points, priced at, sorry, priced at $549 and $599, which is bizarre pricing scheme. It should be $499 and $599, especially with the performance differences. And it comes out tomorrow. I'm really curious to see if this sells out. I won't be getting a card anytime soon, but I will be having my eyes on this for the next few months, and potentially might get one and added to an eGPU enclosure. The performance benchmarks, the RX 9070 and 9070 XT, have been put through rigorous testing, showcasing impressive results. The RX 9070, this model outperforms NVIDIA's RTX 5070 by about 17% at 4K resolution and nearly 20% at 1440p in specific titles like Horizon Zero Dawn, and delivers over 30% higher performance regardless of upscaling. RX 9070 XT, competing directly with NVIDIA's RTX 5070 Ti, the RX 9070 XT offers comparable performance with less than a 1% difference in average frame rates across various games. Notably, it achieves this at $150 less price point. That is pretty awesome. I'd like to see AMD continue with this. Um, that being said, the price to performance analysis for this is AMD strategic pricing positions these GPUs as an attractive option for gamers seeking value without compromising on performance. The RX 9070 at 549, it's not only surpasses the RTX 5070 in performance, but also offers a more cost-effective solution for 1440p. So, like if you're doing entry level 4K, or you want to do like a 1440, not like 4K, great option is to go with the base one, but why not spend another $50? Like I don't get the 9070 model, and it really makes me weirded out by that by AMD to just why would you not spend $50 more to get the 9070 XT? For an additional $50, the XT variant provides enhanced capabilities, making it a compelling choice. Okay, blah blah blah. Jargon. Considering the performance metrics and pricing, here's our take. For 1440p gaming, the 9070. If you want to do 4K or anything above that, or want something that's similar performance to the 5070 Ti's, which is actually the card I'm eyeing over is the 5070 Ti, then you'd want to go with the 9070 XT. I personally am going to try to get my hands on a 9070 XT this year. So let's see what you guys have to say. So um BT Maverick, do you think AMD should have released a higher end card to compete with the 4080, 4090 card with their FSR4 AI upscaling card? So AMD is struggling to produce high end GPUs that compete with their flagship, I guess, NVIDIA's flagships, which are or like their high end 80 and 90 series. They always have struggled to compete with it, and at least their pricing structure now competes with a little bit more. So, like the 9070, we know that they're competing with the 5070 with this. And so I at least enjoy that they're trying to do this type of comparison with their modeling. Like it's always been the confusing part with AMD for me is like what's the comparison here? So yeah, um, I definitely think that AMD should go after the 80 series card and undercut it by a lot. Like really, if they could produce similar performance to a 5080 and have it priced at, let's say, like $300 less, I think they're just going to rock the market. So at the end of the day, yes, I do think they need to compete. I don't think they need to compete with the 90 series personally. I think what they need to do is compete on price to performance, and they just need a 9080 card personally. A 9070 I think is great mid range. I think a 9060 could be useful, but really honestly, this card really looks like it just hits some good metrics. Let's see what IGN has to say. Okay, we're gonna see at the bottom. Oh, they love it. So IGN giving out a 10, which to be fair, they actually don't give out 10s very often. The AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT isn't quite the most powerful graphics card on the market, but at $599, it just doesn't need to be. Instead, this is an excellent 4K graphics card that people can actually afford. I agree with that. This card, you're not gonna be able to max out everything, but here's the thing. When you're playing a game like, let's say, Cyberpunk or any of these games, once you get past, let's say, the high settings, you go to extreme or anything like that, your graphical improvements start to become very minute. They're not really worth it. You're going to be much better off just saving your money and getting something like this and getting yourself a Steam Deck or something like that if you don't have one. Yeah, PT Maverick special sense Nvidia is falling on their face. Nvidia is really screwing up big time right now, and I'm shocked. And I think if they don't play their cards right, they're gonna have some serious troubles in the next few years. That is. Um, Digital Foundry is praising FSR 4. That is pretty good at the Icarus. Because I don't they not like the FSR. Low key, it's about 9070 is about 12% slower than the 9070 XT for a $50 range. $50, yeah, agreed. And it's kind of weird. Low key and 84 watts range too. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. I agree. Low key, it should be 499 for the 9071. Um, The 9070 XT is a 7900 XTX, but $300 off the original MSRP. It's got newer tech in it, so I don't know if I could. I would say that it's fair, like fair to call it a 7900 XTX, but the performance is similar. Um, but it also has some newer tech in it, which I think is going to help it beat out the 7900 long term. Personally, but Cascoder, you're not wrong. Raichi, if it's $900 Canadian, it's dead on arrival for me. Something like the B 580 would be enough for me. Interesting. I am curious about that Intel chip. But I honestly I think 599 for this is great, and this is actually probably going to be the card I shoot for this year as I upgrade PCs and eGPUs and stuff like that. Um, I love to see that it's getting a 10, but from IGN, is I don't know. The verdict: PC gaming has been in a decadent spiral since 2020. And the AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT is a reminder that it doesn't have to be that way. This graphics card has no problem maxing out any game you throw at it. 4K added at 4K, even with ray tracing enabled, and does so at a price that makes the competition look downright greedy. I can't predict the future, so only time will tell if this launch price holds up. What I do know, if we need more graphics cards like the AMD, yeah, at the end of the day, is it the most powerful 50, like the 80 or 90 series? No, but I'll be honest. I think nowadays, especially with these next generations, I think it's just going to be like this. This is a decent deal. Um, and it sounds like FSR 4 is really good. And I'm going to look into more of these numbers and try to do a video for you guys later on this week. And so we'll do a video on this later. Um, NVIDIA and Intel GPUs are out of stocks. It's all AMD, nothing in this range. I'm really curious if this will sell out too. This is going to be, I've heard, and Linus mentioned that AMD has been stocking this card for a few months now. And so the chances of this being out of stock as quick as NVIDIA is probably not going to happen. And this is really good. Like this 10 right here. This is IGN, of course. So take it with a grain of salt. Is really good. I think indicator that this will be the card of the year, and for most people, even myself, and I have a 3090 in my PC right now. But I want to build a new PC, and even though that 3090 it potentially could beat this card, I think I might do what Raichi or I can't remember if it was Raichi or someone mentioned last week is just sell it. Maybe I'll sell it, but at the end of the day, um, then 3090 runs really hot and is very power hungry, and it heats up this room that I'm in. And so and that's another reason I'm kind of going away from such a power hungry GPU. And I'm going to try to downscale it. And this 9070 XT seems perfect, and I can do a lot with it. So I definitely think this is going to be a winning card, and it's the card that I will probably be recommending anyone get this year, as it does what it needs to do. I don't think there's any reason why you need to go crazy. Right, you're right though. My 3090 does have 24 gigabytes of RAM. How much RAM does the 9070 have again? The 9070. Um, that's the device. Come on. So coming in at 16 gigs. I mean, yeah, that does suck, but I have a feeling that they're going to come out with a 70. They're probably going to come out with a oh, sorry, not a 70, but a 9080 or 9090 that will be 20 gigs or maybe 24 and have this bigger bus. So it definitely shows that this architecture has room to grow, and this is just their first mid-range. Their next card could be really good, but for 16 gigs, this is fine for me, personally, for what I need. For what this card's capable of, I think this is a good balance. Let's just say that. Anything less than this though, and Nvidia, let's see, what does Nvidia have? Nvidia's 5070 Ti. What is the RAM on this thing? 16 gigs. Okay. That's good at least. I was a little worried. 16 gigs is good enough. Should still be 20 though. I still think that there needs to be more RAM. But at least it's good enough, like for what this is capable of. Once you get into the 80 and 90s though of these types of cards, they really should be much higher. What is the 80 RAM? 16. See, this that for the 80, that's too low in my opinion. It should be 20. Okay. With that, I think we've pretty much talked about everything at this point now, unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about. Let's see. Many people doing AI want the 3090. It's why going up in cost. Oh, good to know. Well, I'm going to be interesting about the I mean, I'm going to be doing AI with my framework, and at the end of the day, I probably will sell that 3090. But we'll see. I might use that as an eGPU and give it a try there first before I sell it for fun. Um, Cascoder, it's a perfect card for switching to Linux. I agree, Cascoder, and I honestly think I'm going to be doing that this year. I think Gardner's talking me into it more and more, so it'll probably happen. 5070 is a 12 gigabyte, then 9070 is a 16. Yeah, the 9070 is a 16 for both. Uh, yeah, honestly, that's really good. That's really good. I think a much better. I think AMD is going the right way. I want to back AMD. I'm going to put my money down on AMD. I like what they're doing. I also really hope that the prices on this stuff don't go up too much with the tariffs. That's another thing we could probably talk about, but maybe I'll save it for next week as we. It's going to take a few weeks to a few months, especially for the tech stuff, to really show how much tariffs are going to go up. But that's another thing we haven't mentioned yet. But tariffs have gone through, and tariffs are going to be a bitch. Let's just say that they are not going to be fun for a lot of people this year, and they are going to make things expensive. The cars alone, people are saying, could make it cost about $6,000 more for a small car, 9 to 12,000 for an SUV, kind of bigger car. Cascader, did you look at the Xbox 360 recompilation tool that was created to make Sonic? I did not. Let's look at that. Rage, Cascader. Okay. Okay, so a new preservation tool. Sonic fans are leading the charge on a new preservation tool that can help give any Xbox 360 game a native PC port. This could be just the start of a whole new era for Xbox 360 preservation. After 17 years, Sonic Unleashed finally has a native PC port, and it's been developed with a tool that could potentially help give the same treatment to any Xbox 360 game. With that, the door to one of the most exciting avenues of game preservation we've seen in ages might have been kicked off in a major way. There's a lot of potential. So, does this like recompile it into an Windows? That is really cool if this recompiles it into a Windows um, executable or like a Windows program, which makes sense. Like Xbox, they're all based off the architecture that Windows runs off of. So there's no surprise this hasn't been done up to this point. But yeah, okay. There's a lot of potentially and might. There's a lot of potentially and might here because this new tool called the Xenon Recomp simply gives fan developers a path to creating PC versions of Xbox 360 games. As the GitHub explains, it converts Xbox 360 executables into C++ code, which can be then recompiled for any platform. It's not magic. You can't simply drag a 360 ISO file in and get a perfectly functional PC port, but it could make things much easier for fan developers to create their own ports. Xenon Recomp was heavily inspired by. Isn't the Xenon like the processor in the Xbox 360? Um, by N64 recompiled, which effectively does the same thing for Nintendo 64 games. Yes, and that's right. You can get like Mario 64 as a PC port. I actually really like this, and I really like the concept of going to recompilers or compilers that convert the code and the game over as instead of emulating it. I'd much prefer going this route. I don't know what that would mean or if you could even do that with some of the older games, but I like the idea of porting it this way much more than emulating. Much better performance typically. Um, installing it and doing all this stuff just sounds easier in my opinion, but yeah. Teach your own. This is really exciting stuff. Thanks for sharing that, Cast Cutter. Raichi, the Brink, sell your 3090 for cash and buy a brand new card and get the beautiful tax deductible. You're not wrong. Get myself a nice little tax deductible. BT Maverick, bad luck. AMD law where they get a card that beats middle range Nvidia in price and performance, but tariffs screws that up. BT Maverick, here's the thing though. I agree. Tariffs, I don't know if tariffs are going to screw it up. I think it's still going to be a very successful card, partially because it's reviewing well. Even if it goes up with price, it's still Nvidia is going to go up in price too. I think it's going to end up just it's such a good, and it will probably become even more popular as tariffs. Maybe the 3080 and 3090 or the 5080, the 5090 will be out of reach of what people really want to pay, depending on how much they increase. If they increase by like 25%, that's crazy. If it's like 50%, who's going to buy a 5090 at like $3,000? So I don't know. There'll be people, there'll be rich people that are always gonna be buying this stuff, but like for me, I'm not paying. I'd rather just buy a MacBook at that point, another one or something like that. So I know that sounds weird, but it's like a complete PC that's really good. Like MacBooks are really nice. The screens are really nice. So this is probably a good on AMD, and if they even like, if they could just get it down like even a little cheaper, so when those tariffs pop it up, they're gonna this will probably be the most sold GPU as we go through this uh through these tariff wars that are just gonna be really annoying. I don't know, who knows when it could, like, I know that whoever is next president, even if they go on for 4 years, will probably get rid of tariffs. So we have at the most 4 years to deal with this. I doubt we're going to have tariffs by the end of this year, but it's still going to suck. And this could be the card to help us get through this. So, um, BT Maverick, yes, recompiles into Windows and Linux. Ooh, nice. Cascoder, they ported Sonic Unleashed to Windows and Linux. I built both versions, set up syncing to send my saves back and forth. Ooh, nice. Good job, Cascoder. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Maybe we'll have to chat on Discord sometime about all this. Thanks for the heads up on that, Cascoder. BT Maverick, you can use Flatpak in Linux. Yes, you can. The world loves Orange Boy. Who's Orange Boy? I don't know who Orange Boy is. Is Half Life. Lone Key, is it the 5090 now? 5K if you want one now. I guess it is technically 5K if you want it now, but yeah, because he is scalpers. Honestly, I've given Nvidia a lot of passes over the past few years, and I was very upset with them when I first bought it, but I was still going to keep on buying Nvidia cards as long as AMD wasn't competing well enough. And I feel like this is the first card to come out in a while to where it's worth buying. Rachel, the president of your country. Yes, thank you. Oh, the loves orange. The world does not love Orange Boy, Rachel. The world does not. Uh, we're not going to get into politics. I still need to apologize to to a certain someone a couple weeks ago. Sorry, super dry in here. Yes. So Agent Orange is going to be causing some issues with tariffs, so be fun. Okay. With that being said, That's it. It's an awesome week. You'll be able to hear more of what I have to say on Off the Console, so you can check me out at the end, like a couple of days. I don't think we're gonna be doing a live stream this week, but we tried to. We'll see. We might start doing live streams. Who knows? But Sundays they should be really. We should have our next episode of Off the Console. I'm sure we're gonna talk about some of the stuff in that too. So, thank you guys for watching. I promise next week. Promise something like some type of contest or something. Keep an eye out. I'm very close to having stuff ready for a good show and some much better improved. All this stuff's just gonna be much better improved. So thank you guys for supporting through super chats, through following. If you have not yet, follow my channel, subscribe to it. Um, if not, I am gonna have other ways that you can help donate, and we're gonna get into some really fun territories with all that. And I'm gonna make sure that you guys get a lot. Thank you guys so much. Keep an eye out. I know I've been touting this website for a while, but it's going to be worth it, guys. And it's going to come in pieces. So, meaning it's not going to be officially out next week, but I'm going to have something for you. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys next time. Peace out. Later. Now to find the tab where this is to kill it. Okay. I'm done. Okay, let's put you to sleep.